Thank you for tuning into Emerge's Women's History Month celebration of women judges. Our conversation today will discuss the powerful impact women judges are having in our judicial system during the historic Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson confirmation hearings to the Supreme Court of the United States. I'm Melissa Watson Ward, and I'm thrilled to be here to speak with Judge Tracy Flood. Judge Flood is a municipal court judge for Bremerton, Washington, and a graduate of Emerge Washington's class of 2021. Judge Flood is an experienced lawyer with 13 years as a litigator and previous experience as a pro tem judge in district courts. Upon being selected to serve as municipal court county judge, Judge Flood became the first Black woman to hold a judgeship in Kitsap County and continues to blaze new trails in the judicial world. I'm excited to speak with her today as we here at Emerge celebrate women judges who are continuing to make and live history as they lead in their communities. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Ms. Ward, for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to share with our audience.
Awesome. Well, can you tell us a little bit about your seat on the bench and what kind of cases do you hear?
Well, I was elected last November, November 2nd, through a contested election. And the municipal court is a court of limited jurisdiction in Washington state. So basically, we hear misdemeanors and some civil protection order matters. And the misdemeanors, the maximum penalty on most of those matters is 364 days in jail and a maximum fine of $5,000. But it can be anywhere from a theft, driving while license suspended, third, second, or first degree trespassing. Those are the typical matters that we hear.
Okay. And being a judge is a unique and important role in the justice system. Why did you decide to serve in this way?
So, for as long as I can remember,
Mhm.
my path, my calling that I felt was to be a judge. At a very young age, I can remember watching Claire Huxtable on The Cosby Show. But even more so, I grew up in the Midwest in Chicago,
Mhm.
where people around me in leadership looked like me.
Mhm.
So learning my history, learning the importance of being able to give back in community as a woman of
Mhm.
color was very important to me. But just serving in my community here in Bremerton in Kitsap County has been one that came with me serving in the military.
Mhm.
And that was a way that I saw to and help me pay for college.
Mhm.
So knowing that it would require higher education, and there was a lot of discouragement on the way, but there was a lot more encouragement and those around me that supported me throughout my endeavor to become a
Mhm.
judge in my career.
Mhm. And it's so important for us to have more Black women judges and Black women in this space. And Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is slated to be the first Black woman to serve on the
Yes,
Supreme Court of the United States.
yes.
So, what steps do you think we need to take in order to see more Black women join that bench?
I believe that our leadership in every aspect should reflect our communities.
Mhm.
We're still having first. It
Mhm.
I'm being elected in 2021. It's the first in Kitsap County for a Black woman to be elected. And even in appointments, there is no Black women that have ever been
Mhm.
appointed in Kitsap County. And we are still lacking on in Washington State on the tiers of the first level is municipal court, then district courts.
Mhm.
We don't have any Black women on our district courts in our
Wow.
entire state. Then we
Wow.
have Superior Court. So when we look at the highest court in the land,
Mhm.
in our US, in the areas of looking at the judicial branch, it's important that the reflection of that branch of government reflects our communities as a whole.
Mhm.
There, in order to be seated at the table and to have a voice at the table that represents the melting pot that
Mhm.
is represented in the United States. The judicial branch must reflect that.
Mhm.
We cannot um, belittle that. We cannot say that it doesn't matter because
Mhm.
representation matters on
Mhm.
every level. When you see the numbers of those that are coming through the criminal justice system,
Mhm.
through our systems, access to justice as a whole, being able to reflect on that. And again, the highest court in our land, the US Supreme Court, for it to be 2022, and we haven't really seen this side of representation since
Mhm.
Thurgood Marshall,
Mhm.
not to downplay Clarence Thomas, but that's another conversation within itself.
That is.
But not since, the NAACP being involved and advocating on the level, and that's the oldest civil rights organization here again and in the US. We want not special treatment. We
Mhm.
don't want exceptions made. We
Mhm.
know that there are more than qualified Black women
Yes.
justices that have not been considered because they are Black women.
Mhm.
So when that happens and you see a correction that's being made and opportunities being given, look at the entire
Mhm.
record. Look at the entire experience. The nomination of Judge Kataji Brown is one in which we know she's already been vetted.
Mhm.
She's sitting as a federal judge. So when you say qualifications, you're selecting from a pool of qualified applicants.
Mhm.
And as in any job, you're selecting from the standpoint of saying, these are the qualifications, these are the ones I'm selecting from. And it's done every day. You're promoting from within.
Mhm.
You're giving that credit where credit is due. And we know how important that is. But a seat at the table in 2022 for this just now to be being a conversation
Mhm.
is historic, but it's also letting us know how far we still have to go in our seeking equity, not equality,
Mhm.
but equity.
Mhm. Yeah, so you are that representation in your community.
Yes.
You are a trailblazer in the sense that you are the first to hold your office.
Yes.
So, how has that impacted your role?
It's as when coming through law school and coming back into the community and giving back and serving and doing public defense work and volunteering in many aspects and being on every committee. There's a lot that's on my shoulders to carry.
Mhm.
And I don't take that lightly. While I'm no longer an advocate, I am that voice where the measure is justice for all.
Mhm.
And looking at it from a lens that's never been looked at before in Bremerton is what I bring to the bench. That community voice in which the Bremerton community selected me. And I am honored because I've served in the Navy, active duty, and reserves.
Mhm.
Being a graduate of Olympic College, our local community college, while on active duty and in the reserves, transferring to the University of Washington. If you know our area, you know that our main mode of transportation is the ferry, having rode almost every ferry in the state. So it means a lot because people can identify with me
Mhm.
in all of the areas that represent our community. But most importantly, as a woman of color, the
Mhm.
young people, the Bremerton High School students that are a part of the Black Student Union,
Mhm.
those students coming over and talking with me, opening up um, conversations that have not been had.
Mhm.
So, this honor of being a first, being a part of history when you're alive,
Mhm.
is one in which I'm humbled and I don't take it lightly. So,
Mhm.
every day, I try to treat each and every person that comes in front of me as an individual. There's not a one size that fits all.
Right.
It's not a blanket, well, this is what we normally do. Well, that may have been what we normally do, but let's get some more information. Let's look at it from a different lens.
Mhm.
This individual isn't like the 10 others.
Mhm.
We must begin to, in order to really make an impact to make our community safer, to look at things from a different lens.
Mhm.
And that's what I bring.
Mhm. Mhm. And you mentioned earlier that running for judge is a unique race compared to other races. How did the Emerge Network in particular help you, both as you ran and in the role that you're in now?
So the Emerge Network, I think I was only the second judge that went through the program here in Washington, um, provided tools and resources to campaigning that is hard for, again, judicial races,
Mhm.
because, again, there are a lot of restrictions and you also feel isolated.
Mhm.
And the Emerge Network helped me to not feel that isolation, provided that safe place for conversations, and to be able to have the women
Mhm.
in Emerge assist and support in their experiences and hearing what they experienced on the campaign trail and sharing my experiences on the campaign trail. But more than anything, the support
Mhm.
in our classes, in our sessions,
Mhm.
was just priceless.
Awesome. That's beautiful. I'm glad for you that you had that network and glad for us that you're part of our network. So also I want to know, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but what advice would you have for a woman who is looking to run for office?
I would encourage you to talk to as many people who have run a campaign to get different perspectives, but also know that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, it's not the 100-meter dash. It's a marathon. And you have to build your stamina to be able to withstand that marathon. And there, what is there's the triathlon,
Mhm.
and in some cases, you will feel like it is a triathlon, depending on where you are. But prepare early.
Mhm.
The earlier you can prepare and begin to think about it, the better prepared you will be for the run.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Judge Flood. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
your time and for letting us get to know you a little bit better and your role as judge there in Washington. I also want to thank all of our viewers for joining us today for our Merge Leading from the Bench conversation. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow up us on social for more updates from our alum and team. Thank you so much.
Thank you.